Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to continue talking about robots at work, a new solution to elderly care. Remember last time in our TOEIC unit, we introduced this topic of Rosie the nurse bot. This is an imaginary product that someone is producing. It's designed to help the elderly, especially elderly people who live by themselves. This robot will help them with various tasks around the house.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We found out that Rosie has a lot of different functions or capabilities. One of the things that was amazing to me that Rosie could do is lift a person who was as heavy as 80 kilograms, which is really pretty heavy for a robot. But yeah, Rosie's able to keep this person company, make sure that they don't get into a dangerous situation. Today, we're going to move ahead and again talk about these robots at work. We've got a memo that has been written, and the subject is Ivy. So robots at work is going to start right after we read through today's article.
Subject, Ivy. Surname withheld for privacy. Period, 6 months. Report.
I have to admit that I wasn't sure about Rosie at first. She didn't look completely like a real person. However, after a few weeks, I'd gotten used to her. Now I can't imagine life without her around. Having Rosie makes a lot of things easier. She makes sure the house is always warm enough, and she saves me the job of turning lots of things on and off. She also makes me feel safer. Previously, I was always concerned that I might slip and fall when getting into and out of my bath. Now, she's there to lend a helping hand. I also feel more confident of going for a short stroll around my neighborhood. I'm a bit frail these days, but with Rosie beside me, I know I'll be all right. Rosie also provides me with companionship. She has a monitor I can use to call my family. It was a little tricky to use at first, but I've gotten the hang of it now. She also reads out crossword clues and helps me with the answers. My vision isn't so good these days, but thanks to Rosie, I can still do the daily crossword. Of course, Rosie can't do everything that a real person can. Her speech is a little limited, and she often needs recharging. Overall, though, I much prefer living with Rosie to having to move into a nursing home.
Okay, everybody, let's talk about our article in detail now. In this particular case, we have a case study.
Yeah.
Remember last time we talked about the presentation that Isaac gave to a group of people who might be interested in buying this product or building it for them or whatever. Well, now they've actually tried this robot out for a period of 6 months. With a woman by the name of Ivy. This is an elderly person who is using this robot or used it for a period of 6 months. And she wrote a report, or somebody wrote a report that she dictated to them or something like that. And she's talking about her experiences with this particular robot, which again is Rosie the nurse bot. So her name is Ivy, but her surname has been withheld for privacy. Your surname, of course, is your family name. Like if your name is Doug Johnson, then Doug is your first name and Johnson is your surname. And Ivy would like to keep some privacy here. We know her first name, and lots of people have the name of Ivy, so we don't really know who she is unless she gives us her surname, her family name, or her last name. Those are all the same thing, like Johnson, Smith, Wilson, or whatever. And she's withholding that name, holding it back for privacy.
Yeah.
Privacy means you just don't let a lot of people know about what you're doing. Only you know about these things. Some people like to live by themselves, for example, because they like the privacy.
To withhold something, it just means you keep something back. For example, with our taxes, we have a withholding tax, which means the government actually takes some of our paycheck. The company then withholds it to pay taxes to the government. So withhold is the present tense. Withheld is the past tense. Maybe you have a really mean boss who withholds food. I don't know what you could withhold, but the name is not given out because they want to remain kind of anonymous, even though it's an Ivy. It could be lots of people with Ivy. So it starts out by saying, I have to admit that I wasn't sure about Rosie at first. This word admit means you confess something to be true or to be the case. And there's this feeling attached to the verb admit, which gives this idea that you wish you didn't have to say it. You know, maybe you admit to being guilty of stealing something. Of course, you'd like to keep that quiet. Or maybe you're acknowledging that you have some sort of fault or failure. Oh, I admit that I'm terrible at getting to work on time. I just can't do it. So I have to admit, she says, that I wasn't sure about Rosie at first. You know, maybe she really didn't want to actually test Rosie out, would have preferred to have a real person living with her. But, you know, obviously her opinion has changed as we go through this.
Right. So maybe at the beginning she thought, oh, I will never get used to a robot. That is just so weird. I'm traditional. I believe that people should be around other people. These machines are taking over. I will never accept it. But later on, she tried this thing out and she had a change of heart. She says she admits that she likes it now. At least at the beginning, she says she wasn't sure, but now she admits that she likes the robot, and so she says she didn't look completely like a real person at first. However, after a few weeks, I'd gotten used to her. So this is a phrase here, to get used to something. That means you gradually get accustomed to something. It's no longer strange to you, and it's no longer unusual to have that thing around. So at the beginning, she probably did not want that thing in her house. Get that ugly machine out of here. I don't like it. I'll never like it. But then she got used to it. Well, actually, I'm used to it now. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with that thing around, and maybe I couldn't live without it.
Yeah, everybody has to get used to things that they're unfamiliar with. When I came to Taiwan, I had to get used to the food. The food was a little different from what I was used to. Now I love it. So moving on to paragraph 2. Having Rosie makes a lot of things easier to do. I'm sure that's true. So she makes sure the house is always warm enough. Maybe Ivy lives in a cold country. I don't consider Taiwan to be cold, but, you know, maybe she has the ability to provide some heat. That would be interesting if the robot was a heater, too. And she saves me the job of turning lots of things on and off. It's hard to get up and after you've been sitting down for a while. The elderly have a hard time, like, pulling themselves out of a chair is even difficult. And to have to go over and turn the lights off in a room or on, it just is a little harder as you get older. Your body just doesn't move as easily as it used to. So Rosie's able to help her by turning things on and off.
Yeah, I would like some help with that myself.
Really?
I'm able to turn the light, like the bathroom light. I always forget to turn it off. No matter what happens, I leave the bathroom, I go to bed, and then I'm nice and comfortable in the bed, and I look over and I realize I forgot to turn the light of the bathroom off.
Darn it.
Maybe we could use some sensors or something like that that could turn the lights off automatically. But in any case here, I guess Ivy lives in a kind of cold part of the world, maybe in Canada or something like that. So Rosie makes sure the room is warm enough, and she turns things on and off like the stove, like we mentioned before. She also makes me feel safer, okay? Yeah, that's true. Sometimes if you're in a house by yourself, you don't feel safe. Somebody might break in or something and steal things and hurt you.
I wonder if Rosie has a gun.
That might be interesting. Or Rosie can maybe make some sounds like a dog or something.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Scare a burglar away.
Or sound like a really big, mean man. That would help.
Yeah, get out of here.
Get out of the house.
Yeah. Or probably has a laser gun or something like that. So in any case here, Rosie, the nurse bot, makes Ivy feel safer. And previously, I was always concerned that I might slip and fall when getting into and out of my bath.
Oh, yeah.
This can happen if you're getting into the bathtub to take a bath. It's wet in there, so you might slip, which means you lose your footing. Your foot does not touch the floor and starts moving across the floor because of the water. So you might slip and fall when you get into the tub and out of the bathtub, and you could break some bones as a result. You might bang your head on the sink or something like that. We certainly don't want that happening. So, indeed, I think Rosie's there to lend a helping hand.
Yeah, if you lend a helping hand, you help somebody out for a while. To lend just means you let somebody use something that you own or have with the understanding that they're going to return it. So you're lending and they're borrowing. So she's going to be able to lend a helping hand. Everybody needs a helping hand every once in a while. And so you could just say, hey, can you give me a hand? That's another way to say this. Or could you lend me a hand? So lend a helping hand. Ivy also says, I also feel more confident of going for a short stroll around my neighborhood. A stroll is a short walk. It's not fast. You're not power walking for exercise. I like to power walk, but a stroll is, casual. You take your time. It's kind of nice. And for the elderly, if they can walk, they need to keep, moving so that they don't lose the ability to walk. So it's great that Rosie can go outside with her and make sure she doesn't fall.
That's right. Go for a stroll, practice your balance, listen to the birds, chat with your neighbors or something like that. Go for a stroll around the neighborhood, maybe go down to the local park or something like that. And Ivy goes on to say, I'm a bit frail these days.
Yeah.
But with Rosie beside me, I know I'll be all right. So here we have the word frail. Frail means you could be very weak and very delicate, and you might actually get hurt easily. So she's frail. If she falls, she might break a bone. That's what they say as we get older. Our bones become more brittle, which means they're kind of harder and more easily broken. They're not as flexible as they used to be. So she's kind of frail, and Rosie's there beside her, and she feels safe because she'll be all right. Rosie's there to protect her, maybe to give her a hand, to help her walk or something like that, or to stop her from falling if she slips on a banana peel or something like that.
Yeah, anything. I think it's harder for older folks to have good balance. I've noticed that with my dad as he gets older. Frail we use to describe people. If it's an object that's easily broken, we say it's fragile. A lot of boxes that I mail home to my family, I'll write in big letters, fragile, handle with care, be careful. To the postman. So in the last paragraph here, actually it's the third paragraph, Rosie also provides Ivy with companionship. Companionship is that feeling that you have when you're with someone and you have a friend there with you. Or it's a friendship that you have, companionship. Someone's keeping you company. That's always a great thing. She has a monitor that I can use to call my family. There's some sort of device on Rosie the robot herself that allows Ivy to connect with family or friends or emergency services. A monitor is just some sort of device that is used to check something or observe something. Maybe she has a big button on her that Ivy can push, or maybe Rosie is able to push some button herself to contact her family.
So Ivy maybe lives in Wichita or something, and her son is a fancy pants lawyer in Denver or something like that.
Or New York City.
Or something like that. So she wants to call, and she just says, hey, Rosie, I'd like to call my son in Denver, so can you call him up now? I'd like to talk to him so she can keep in touch with her family. And it was a little tricky to use at first, but I've gotten the hang of it now. here the word tricky can mean a couple of things. Somebody might play tricks on other people, and they might not be trustworthy. They don't tell the truth. You could say, hey, that's a very tricky person there. Don't trust that person. But in this particular case, tricky means kind of difficult, okay? It was tricky to use at first. She didn't quite understand which buttons to push, which levers to pull, and stuff like that. So it was kind of tricky, kind of difficult to use at first.
I think another good word for this particular sentence would be complicated. It's complicated instead of simple. Yeah.
There you go. Tricky. So complicated.
Yep.
But she got the hang of it. I've gotten the hang of it. That, of course, is present perfect. To get the hang of something means you figure out how to do something. It's no longer unfamiliar to you. Like when you first learn to ride a bicycle. It's kind of difficult at first. You don't really know your balance. You kind of fall down. But eventually, you get the hang of it. And after that, it's never a problem to ride a bicycle.
Yeah, so getting the hang of it means actions that your body actually goes through. Getting used to something isn't necessarily an activity that you take part in. You couldn't say, I've gotten the hang of Chinese food. That doesn't work. I've gotten used to Chinese food, but I've gotten the hang of riding a scooter around the streets of Taiwan and not being killed.
Ooh.
So you get the hang of it. She also reads out, this is Rosie, can read out crossword clues and helps me with the answers. Crossword puzzles have, of course, clues for you that you can read, and then you have to guess what word is, and you write it, and it's either across or down, a crossword puzzle. She says, my vision isn't so good these days. Most people, their eyes are getting bad. It's harder to read, harder to see things. But thanks to Rosie, she can still do her daily crossword. Most newspapers, big newspapers at least, have a daily crossword or a daily crossword puzzle that people like to do to keep their minds nimble and quick and clear. They're a good way to practice.
And they're good ways to brush up on your trivia to see how much knowledge you have. And some people like to do Sudoku puzzles because they're kind of a challenge for your mathematics skills and stuff like that. So, yes, indeed, her vision isn't so good, but thanks to Rosie, I can still do the daily crossword or the daily crossword puzzle. I haven't seen those so much in Taiwan, but in English-speaking countries, crossword puzzles are quite popular.
Oh, yeah.
Now, of course, Rosie can't do everything that a real person can. Her speech is a little limited, and she often needs recharging. Just like your smartphone, you need to recharge it. It needs recharging. Some people recharge their phones 3 or 4 times a day.
I'm recharging my phone right now.
I only recharge mine once a day. I don't really use my phone that much. But hey, this robot probably does a lot of things around the house, so she needs to be recharged quite often. And Ivy also complains that her speech is a little limited, which means she can't really say a lot of things. Maybe she can respond to simple commands, but she certainly cannot have an intellectual discussion about impressionist painters of the 19th century, for example.
Yeah, you can't debate with her about controversial subjects. If something's limited, it's restricted in size, amount, or extent. So you don't have the ability to have just an endless amount of sentences that Rosie can say to you. She's kind of restricted. She's limited in what she can say. But overall, Ivy concludes with saying, I much prefer living with Rosie to having to move into a nursing home, which is kind of a tough way for elderly people to live as they get older. We hear a lot of really scary stories about nursing homes abusing the elderly.
Yeah.
So it's nice that we're going to soon have an option to have a robot stay with Grandpa and Grandma, maybe instead of sending them away to a nursing home. Right now, guys, it's time to listen to our Chinese teacher, and then we're going to come back and we have a discussion question or two.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 今天我们来看一下这个使用机器人的结果报告。首先一刚开始我们看到 subject 这个字，它在这里是代表着实验的对象，它的人名称叫做 Ivy， 后面括号写着 surname withheld for privacy， 因为是为了保护隐私，所以就不透露它的姓氏。首先我们来看到 withheld 在这里是 VPP 表被动，原形动词 withhold 也就是有暂时不公布或者是保留的意思。The police withheld the name of the suspect 也就是代表着警察保留了嫌疑犯的名字。为什么要保留呢？正因为是 for privacy 因为它的保护它的隐私。隐私呢当作名词 privacy， 但是有些人很喜欢干预别人的隐私生活，我们会说 to intrude on a person's privacy。我们接着来看一下报告的内容咯。在报告内容里面的第3个句子提到 However, after a few weeks, I'd gotten used to her。 在这里的 I'd 是等于 I had，刚开始可能呢不太会用，但是过了几个礼拜之后 I'd gotten used to her， 我已经习惯她了。在英文里面 be used to或者是 get used to 后面要加上名词或者是 VING 来代表习惯的意思。举个例子来说 My father is used to getting up early，我的父亲习惯早起。再举一个例子，我想我永远不会习惯住在乡下的。I don't think I'll ever get used to living in the country。 这里要特别注意 be used to, get used to 后面要加上名词或者是 VING。接着再继续往下面看到中间的句子写着 Previously, I was always concerned that I might slip and fall when getting into and out of my bath。 其实呢，老人家最容易发生意外的场所就是在浴室，所以 previously 以前这个使用者 Ivy 呢，他总是很担心可能在进出浴缸的时候会滑倒。在这里 into and out of my bath 这里指的就是进出浴缸的时候。如果我们要讲某人感到担心或忧虑，我们就可以用 be 动词来搭配 concerned。 你可以用 about 加名词，或者是像在这里 that 来加子句。我们来看一个例句，我担心他的健康，你就可以说 I am concerned about his health。那么呢，以前总是有这样的担心，后面的句子接着说 Now she's there to lend a helping hand。 而现在有了 Rosie， 她就在那里可以提供我援手。我们常说 lend a helping hand 就是去帮忙，那么 with 再加上名词就可以说帮什么的忙。举例来说 lend me a helping hand with my homework， 也就是叫对方帮我写作业吧。接着我们再看到下一段，中间有个句子It was a little tricky to use at first, but I've gotten the hang of it now。 在这里也提到呢，刚开始有一点 tricky。Tricky 在这里当作形容词，解释成为棘手的或难办的意思。那么衍生出来，形容人就代表狡诈的。A tricky salesman 代表着就是一个很狡猾的推销员。不过刚开始要使用这个 Rosie 呢，是有一点点困难，但是现在呢，已经 get the hang of something， 就是代表呢，学会了什么的诀窍。But I've gotten the hang of it now， 也就是代表我已经掌握了这件事的诀窍。如果你说 get the hang of skiing，代表着就是学会了滑雪的诀窍。最后我们来看到后面的两个句子 Her speech is a little limited and she often needs recharging。 在这里呢，当然指的是 Rosie 这个机器人呢，她所说的话的能力 a little limited。在这里的 limited 代表是有限的。我们常说自然的资源是有限的，你就可以说 natural resources are limited。 除此之外呢 she often needs recharging 我们用 need 再加上 VING 可以用来表示被动，这个机器人常常需要呢一直在充电。Overall, though, I much prefer living with Rosie to having to move into a nursing home. 这个实验的对象呢，他说 overall 整体上来说呢，他比较喜欢呢跟 Rosie 住在一起，胜于呢搬到一个护理之家。我们要注意这里的句型 prefer A to B 喜欢 A 胜于 B 那么后面呢要用动名词的形态，所以注意到 prefer living with Rosie to having to move into a nursing home 这样子的句型结构。 OK 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, it's time now for our discussion questions. We've got a couple of them here, so let me ask the first question here to you, Stephanie. If you were elderly, would you like to have a robot look after you?
I'd rather have a real person, I'll be honest, but I would rather have a family member. I mean, that's what I really want. Sometimes we can't do it, though. People have to work, and someone has to look after you, so I don't know. I'd rather have a guy. I don't want Rosie. Maybe I would have Roger.
Yeah, a big macho kind of guy.
Someone who's cute. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, well, if they want to do it. But, well, for me, if I were elderly, I would not want to have a person looking after me. I'd feel kind of guilty because I'm a burden to them.
Yeah, that's
I think they probably would rather be off doing something else instead of changing my diapers and stuff like that and giving me baths and stuff like that. Yeah, I would definitely want a robot to do those things for me.
Because they don't have feelings, right?
Exactly. They would just do those things and I wouldn't feel guilty about having them, endure all my horrible smells and stuff like that.
Gross, Tom. That's gross. What tasks, Tom, do you wish you could get a robot to do for you now?
For me now?
Because you're not an elderly person. What would you want a robot to help you with?
Well, of course, I think most people would think about house cleaning.
Sure.
To clean up the house and take care of the errands. I'd like them to go out and do the shopping for me.
Especially when it's hot outside.
Absolutely, because living in a big city can be a big hassle if you need to take care of all those things, especially because it's so crowded. If you want to go to the market, you've got to find a place to park. You got to pay for the parking. You got to go sack the groceries and bring them out to your vehicle and load them up and ride back. Put on your motorcycle helmet. If it's raining, you got to put on the raincoat. Oh, it's just a big pain in the butt. So if you could get a robot to do all that stuff for you and you could stay home and kick your feet up and watch TV while the robot is doing all that stuff for you, hey, that would be paradise. How about you?
Sounds pretty good to me. I would definitely have the robot clean. I hate to wash the dishes. I really do.
Nobody likes it.
I hate to clean the bathroom. I hate to do the laundry. Yeah, they would definitely be doing household chores. Okay, guys, that's it for our TOEIC unit. We hope you enjoyed learning about Rosie, the nurse bot. Pretty soon in our future, we're all going to be having to deal with robots, so get ready.
They ain't going to be cheap, though.
No. Thanks for joining us. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.